Good morning, everyone. Truly my honor and privilege to be here. First thing first, I think you've already heard from both of them the message. This is a very, very important point of your life. Then all of you have taken a big call in relating to one point. There's a very good book by the Mindset. I believe the writer is Carol Dweck, and she highlights the entire thinking on growth mindset. The reason I'm highlighting here, you have already taken the decision. So you have taken a decision that you are already in a job with reasonable success at least, maybe great success with some of you. So you have taken a call that you want to grow beyond that. You have taken a pause. That pause means you're investing money, time. There's an opportunity cost of the money that you won't be able to earn. So you want to grow from where you are. So heartiest congratulations and best wishes on this journey. This is an important juncture, and I think then Dr. Jones highlighted more than once, please make it work for you. You are the most important ingredient in this journey. So you would need to come with your 100%. What I am trying to do through next few minutes is sharing some experiences. And there's another term I like, a term called knowledge worker. I think whatever career that you choose, my belief is you would become a knowledge worker. As in whether you join a consulting organization, whether you join a technical organization, or you create a startup. Knowledge worker tag would remain. And with that, I have a few items which I believe are important, as in no prioritization on them. But then my experience in life, and very happy to share it with you. What are those things which you may want to keep an eye on if you want to become a successful professional services or a knowledge worker? Those are things that I'm trying to highlight. Of course, we'll remain open for Q&A at the end, but if you believe something is pressing, you want to clarify something or you want to add, please feel free. Stop. I'm happy doing that in all my sessions. The first thing I want to highlight is please take care of yourself. Now, when I say that, we would run busy lives. As in, when I say busy lives, there is whatever we need to do that we need to do, quote unquote, as in I have a job, I need to operate in that job. Then there would be some family responsibilities, some society responsibilities, all of that. And we get into a rat race and maybe deprioritize taking care of ourselves. And some people say that this is the time you need to run hard, as in other things can wait. But my learning in life, and I'm saying learning because I've gone through a not so good phase also. So my learning in life, taking care of yourself should come first. So please take out time, as in everyone has the same 24 hours. As in if you see the Tata Group chairman Chandra running marathons, that does not happen by chance. And I can tell you that does not happen that, okay, one fine day in a day, I would go and run. He would be spending maybe every day 1 hour. I don't know, that it could be 45 minutes, it could be 90 minutes. But then that is a continuous journey through which you can sustain. And which is an advice I want to leave with you. As in, when I say take care of yourself, primarily 3 parts. Of course, there's enough and more material available. You need to go apply for yourself. But then 3 things: sleep well, eat clean, and exercise regularly. So that has to happen. Please make it non-negotiable. That has to happen on 365 days. As in you, please figure out, of course, you need to party, you need to do various other things. Yeah, of course, there'll be pressure on the studies here, some assignments coming at late evening, presentation to be made next day morning. All that has to happen, but then you need to balance. So what indirectly I'm suggesting, there would be surprises life would throw to you, but then by design, you manage that part well. So that's the first thing. And then invariably you would choose a career option, as in some may go towards a marketing strategy, cybersecurity, MySpace, whatever you want to choose. So please target to achieve mastery in that space. And then when I use that word, I'm very conscious. Mastery is a state, I think, impossible to achieve. People would say I'm expert. I usually do not associate that word with myself, as in I'm a practitioner, professional. So mastery, but then you need to target for that. And idea is very simple. In another book, I like Malcolm Gladwell, Outlier, 10,000 hours for reaching that. He is not even using mastery, but 10,000 hours spent on you acquiring that skill so that it becomes a second nature. So start with that. You may never become master in that field, but then you need to target that. You should be recognized that this person knows their field well, better than average for sure. Recognition in your organization, whichever you work for, and even better, recognition in the larger market. As in your competes should also be saying, yeah, this guy knows his stuff or her stuff. And then that has to happen, and that will only happen when you have sustained efforts, not for a few months, for maybe a few years, few decades in that field. And you please target to become. Next one, develop trust-based relationships. I think Professor Jones already highlighted that part, which is within your cohort you need. But then if you go to let me take example, a Big Four environment. Relationships are maybe the most important ingredient. And when I use that word, professional services organization, all of them, relationships are 360 degree. You need to have trust-based relationships with your seniors, your peers, your juniors, maybe your direct reportees also, not just other juniors, which is internal to your organization. And you need to have trust-based relationship with your clients, partners, suppliers, OEMs that you work with, various other. So all of them need to be trust-based. And when I use that word, the simple guidance is you need to think long-term. Please don't think on the lines that, okay, I have this client and if we do 1, 2, 3, I would get the best order out of it. If you are picking a hat of advisor, remain advisor for good. Of course, you need to make money. Then bottom line is important, non-negotiable. But then if you have that hat of long-term trust-based relationship, the decisions would be good for both of you, both parties involved. And with that happening, then I can tell you, I have received immense amount of support from various people, both seniors, peers and juniors, and which is also always based on the fact that you would be true to the relationship, others would be more than willing to help you. But then please practice it. Build a personal brand. Now, this is easier said than done, and this does not happen overnight. So there's a nice poster available on web. You can search for it. 10 things that you can do which do not need any professional intelligence. I won't worry about listing them. You can search for it. Things like being punctual, keeping your commitment, and respecting others, those kind of things. All of this needs to become your brand. Then the brand should be, here is this person, lady, she would always keep her word. And then if she has committed that she will deliver on a task, she will deliver on that task. So that's the brand. A brand is super important, not just because people would like you. Brand is super important because long-term career decisions, lots of decisions would happen when you are not in the room. And what other people speak of you when you are not in the room is your brand. So your brand needs to speak for you, and that would happen over a period of time. Perception people have of you is based on your actions. So please always remember that. I almost insist at times with my teams, you can do this exercise within a smaller group of 5-10 people. Basic small things, as in how do you present yourself to the world, is also starting point of you are building a brand. And you may want to do this, the perception test I usually talk about. Go to LinkedIn, professional platform. So usually picture should be professional, safe assumption. Download unknown personalities, 10 photos, and give it to 15 people in a room. Tell them, just give 3 keywords which come to your mind just looking at the picture. You'd be surprised, they'll be very, very common, consistent, those keywords appearing. So when we do anything, we project ourselves, we are building perception for ourselves when we interact with people. So please take the right foot forward. Please be positive. Please be helpful. As in, if you try to be over smart, people would see it through. As in, it never happens that you can just crush through and say, okay, I was able to manage a big benefit for myself. Never happens. You may have a small win, but then in a longer run, you would be losing. So build on that personal brand. The brand which is based on attributes which are consistent with you. That's your brand, you need to build on it. Client centricity. Now, this is a keyword you would get to hear a lot if you work in large organizations. And different people constitute or understand, infer different things out of this phrase. My inference on this one, you need to operate as an advocate for the client within your organization. So I'm nowhere suggesting that you start losing money in current organization for serving the client. Of course, the bottom line needs to be protected. You need to do the right things. But then when you are having client centricity in mind, essentially you're thinking, what is long-term benefit for my client? What do they need? Besides, what are they really telling me on top of their mind that this is what I want? What do they need? Are you able to go back and take a few things which they need, not just what they want? Are you able to discuss within your own firm and organization and say, my clients need these 5 things. Hey, 2 other people, can you come along so that we can serve them well? So that's the client centricity that I'm recommending. You apply that approach, you would have advocates for life in client. Those are also people. So those people need their problems to be solved. They would want to work with other people. Of course, the contracts would be signed by organizations, but then if you have built those relationships, if you have maintained that client centricity, clients would love you. And that's something which would take you places long term. Learner for life. Now, this is important. Learner for life is a dimension which would also keep you, you can say, resilient. We all talk about some technologies becoming obsolete. We were investing heavily in particular technology and that has become obsolete. No, 50 guys, they don't know anything else. Learner for life attitude is that within your domain, you need to understand everything which is happening in that domain, at least, which is on periphery, which is on adjacency, which is on complementing. As in, if you are in marketing as a domain, for example, marketing may be getting impacted by what is happening, what Google's strategy is, how do they approach people. So you want to understand how do they approach people. As in, within the cookies or within whatever technology that they're using, they are creating a digital persona so that they can really land a target advertisement to the person. Having an understanding of that beyond your marketing domain is important because tomorrow, if you need to create a different campaign, I'm using that as an example, but then that applies to any field in life. As a cybersecurity practitioner, if I only know what is relevant today, I may soon become irrelevant. So what I need to do is I need to keep an eye on what is happening, what is new development happening, adjacent technologies. So I focus on data trust as an item for the firm. So I'm very keen in what is happening in data governance, what is happening in data strategy or data analytics space, because those were things which may impact my career also in what we do long term for our clients. So that's the approach that I'm suggesting we need to take. Learner for life attitude, because if you don't do it, you would be forced to do it. And that the forced state would not be pleasant, I can tell you. So you do it by your own. Take out time, invest time. This is investment and very, very worthy investment. When there are challenges, as in we get to hear about layoffs, etc. Layoffs, people would not just really throw names under the bus. They would analyze. Person A can only do one job and we do not need that job to be done. Okay, we can consider him for a layoff or for a layoff. Person B can do 3 other things or has that is in wideness in the approach or what they can solve for the business, we would retain them. So those decisions, it's not just about job, it's also about relevance. Even if you have your own business, you create a startup which is focusing on solving one problem. If you don't consider expansion into that startup, that problem may become irrelevant. I'm sure you have seen that photo, helicopter with a cameraman And then there's a drone camera mounted, 3 jobs gone. The helicopter pilot, the cameraman, and whosoever would feed it. So those things would happen to us. And that's where it is important, whenever we are operating, we continue to expand our horizons. And incidentally, so I have just written read. Read widely is a better term. But then when I essentially meant the same thing, these two things are put together side by side. Learner for life is what is important for your domain. When I say read, it is not on the same domain. Please read widely. And this is one, let's call it a habit, if you can develop. And read whichever way you like. And then read is maybe a term I'm using. You can replace it with, if you want to consume it through a digital medium, you prefer an ebook, so be it. You prefer a podcast, so be it. You prefer a video, whatever. So essentially to get wider ideas, not related necessarily to your domain, as wide as you can read, as helpful it will become for you for broadening your horizon, you having a better perspective and understanding of how life operates. As in reading, I won't recommend just read self-help books. You want to read economics, you want to read human history, you want to read some biographies. So all sorts of read. Not to boast here, but then my acquisition of books never stops. I prefer hard copy books. So there's a library at home, and maybe I have a 10-year wait list of books that I still to read, which I've ordered, which have arrived, sitting there with me. So we'll continue. So that's a recommendation I'm really making. Please read. Of course, you would have access to a library here. You don't need to always buy. You can circulate books amongst you. You can read online, whichever, then read, because you get an opportunity to live the life through the lens of the writer. And some of them are excellent, as in the guys like Malcolm Gladwell or Jim Collins. They have done tons and tons and tons of research, then come out with a refined idea, then presenting to you. You get to the idea directly. You are kind of shortcutting into the research that they have done or gone through the pain of reaching to that idea. Okay, the next one may sound slightly odd, but then I remain with it. Help your boss in reaching his or her goals. And this is not about being a yes man, yes person, or being a chamcha or whatever. Not about that. Absolutely not. This is about aligning your priorities right. Look, we are eventually, we operate in an organization structure. I very, very clearly, no one can operate absolutely independently. I am the only person. I run this product service organization and there's no one inside it. You would have some bosses. Even a CEO would have a board as a boss. The boss would have something to be done. They would have some objectives. You understand and help them achieve their goals. In that indirect mechanism, of course, you need to meet your KPIs. I'm not saying you drop your KPIs altogether and just focus on what they need to achieve. You need to achieve your KPI, but then align yourself with the thinking, how do I help support their goals? It is very simple. You're aligning to the macro direction that we need to go. You make them successful, they'll grow, you would have better opportunities. This is your, you can say, individual benefit coming out of that thinking. There are numerous examples in industry, people who have grown ranks very, very rapidly. One, it is not even a secret, one ingredient, my observation, I may be off and wrong, but then my observation, what they have done very effectively is they have created a second line, which is ready to take up their job and they are assigned the next level job. And of course, there's a two-way process. They are doing something, but then people below them are also doing a few things. So you be the person which is raising hand and doing the right thing so that you can support them meet their goals. They being more effective, their circle of influence would grow. They would be able to help you better, always. And alignment is better for the organization goals. Okay, the next one is find a mentor and a sponsor. And I'm using both these terms. It could be one person, but then the subtle difference, especially in a large or a complex organization, sponsor is important because he or she would be not just at the time of promotions. they would be speaking for you when you're not in the room, when even your bosses is not being discussed in the room. So you getting the right project is important, not just about promotion. As in you getting the right assignment, you getting the right opportunity is important. And they would be able to guide you on what is right. As that's a sponsor keyword. The mentor is someone, and both of these roles should be 2-3 levels above you, typically in an organization hierarchy. And mentor could be one consistent mentor, and even if you change organization, you can still approach him or her for guidance. Idea is simple. They have been longer in industry. They have seen more of the world. They would be able to guide you. There are some decisions which individually, when we are thinking, we are only taking based on one part of the story and then taking a decision. They can broaden that thinking, help us take the right decisions, because some of these career changes or decisions that we take can have a very long-term impact on our lives. Then we all of us would have limited 25-30 years of operating life once you are out of this course, at least from a professional career perspective. The moves are important. Help them help you. And that's why you need them. And last one, which is more relevant for a big four kind of an organization, but then you can change the keyword. I have written think like a partner, but then if the role of the senior leader is a MD there or whatever the role is, think like them. Idea is simple. As an individual employee, whichever level that we operate, at times we get stuck with what is right for me. But then if you start thinking like a partner, is and if you have joining, maybe some of you, if you choose to, you join a big four environment as a manager. If you think like a partner is what? As in partner is a small business entity which is responsible for profit and loss within what small entity that we have created. So they need to manage the cost. They need to ensure that the margin is there. You start thinking like them, decisions would be very different. Then how you interact with clients would be different. How you manage your team, it would be different. So think like a partner and aspire to become one, then would be a strong recommendation. These are the few things I had noted, and I wish you all the best.